How can you meal prep for your January 2019 Whole30 without technically cooking every day? I'll let you know 7 tips that I'm using to do just that up next. What is a Whole30 challenge? If you've never heard of the Whole30 challenge, it is a challenge that started back in 2009 by Melissa and Dallas Hartwig. They started the challenge. They're celebrating their 10-year anniversary now in 2019. So what better way to partake in this celebration than by opting to do a Whole30 challenge in January? Now I'm gonna jump right in. Technically these tips can work for any type of meal prep planning, but for the purpose of this video, we're gonna concentrate on the Whole30. So if you don't know what the Whole30 is, again, I'm gonna link down below the program rules where you can read up on it and see if this is something that you would like to participate in. So first things first, you wanna start off with calculating how many meals you're going to be needing. So if it's just one person, you wanna calculate more or less that you're having 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and there's 7 days in the week, so that's 21 meals. So you're gonna multiply that by however many people you have in your family, obviously. From there on, you have practically about 14 meals because whatever you cook for dinner, you can have for leftovers the next day. And we'll be discussing breakfast and snacks later. But for the purpose of this video, we're gonna concentrate mostly on dinners and lunches because that's technically when you tend to fall off once you get home and not really know what you're going to be doing. So I know that myself included, sometimes we're so busy or we simply don't want to cook during the week. So we're kind of stuck on what to do to keep to plan, but not have to meal prep every single day or have to spend tons of time in the kitchen once you come back from a really busy and laborious day at work. So the best thing to do is focus on slow cooked meals. And the reason why you're gonna do that is because you're going to be able to knock them out of the park without having to spend so much time on them each and every single day. I'll explain. So first of all, I picked up this Whole30 slow cooker book. I think it's been one of the best books. I have all 3 cookbooks of these. I love the Whole30, as you can tell. But these are just very clean, nutritious meals. They're feel-good meals. And this one in particular, I thought, what a great idea. You know, we're all so busy. So I picked this one up. And what I did, my way of looking through this book was, I want to make meals that are going to be in one single pot. I don't have to think about it too much. I don't have to saute and then add to the pot. I don't have to do anything, any baking or broiling after I take it out of the pot. So I just wanted to be a kind of one-stop shop in that slow cooker. And this kind of did the trick, but there are some meals in here that you kind of have to sift through because they do require pre or after work. So what I did was that I went through these and I went through the ones that I thought were gonna be delicious, but that they were just dump everything in the pot, you have a full meal. Okay, so if you don't want to buy the book, that's absolutely fine. You can always look on Pinterest. I know Michelle Nom Nom Paleo also has Whole30 compliant meals. I don't know how many of them are slow cooked meals, but you can always look through Pinterest and find what works best for you. But just make sure that the ones that you're choosing are the ones that are, again, just you throw everything in the pot, okay? Just one time. So tip number 3 is that you're going to take and you're gonna pre-select those 5 recipes. So you're gonna select recipes for 5 days of the week. And you're going to have at least 3 of those recipes be 4 serving recipes, at least. And this is, again, calculating that it's me and my spouse and I. So if you have more people, then maybe you're gonna have to duplicate these recipes. But for us, we're a party of 2. So I'm choosing recipes that are 4 servings through Monday through Wednesday. And then I'm choosing recipes that have anywhere from 6 to 8 servings for Thursday and Friday. The reason for that is, again, because if I cook 4 serving meals, that means I have leftovers for lunch the next day. But then sometimes you don't want to cook on the weekend, and honestly, then you won't really have any time to prep for the week after. So with that said, if you have those 6 to 8 serving recipes on Thursday and Friday, that means that, guess what? You not only have meals or lunch for the next day, but you also have some meals that you can play with on Saturday and Sunday that will help you through. Tip number 4, you're gonna look at your grocery list, you're gonna look at the ingredients list rather, and you're gonna make up your grocery list. That way you know exactly what you're not going to be buying more of. So for example, I had 2 recipes in there that had beef. I know that I'm gonna be buying extra beef. How much beef do I need? If I need chicken chicken thighs, so on and so forth. Look at the ingredients, match what you already have in the cupboard. It's a great way to save money instead of actually going to the grocery store and buying everything fresh. You're not going to cook all of your meals the same day, but you are going to prep them all the same day. So choose a day that you're going to be prepping your food. Whether it's a Saturday, whether it's a Sunday, just make sure that you're good to go when your Whole30 starts in January. Okay? Once you put your list together, you do your grocery shopping, you start prepping and everything, you're gonna take these large Ziploc bags, the ones that are about a gallon or a gallon and a half, and you're gonna start putting all of your ingredients that you've pre-chopped, your pre-measured, all that stuff, all your ingredients, they're gonna be in that Ziploc bag, okay? And then you're gonna label them. So for example, you're gonna label Monday and you're gonna say this is the pork tenderloin with the sweet potato, apple, and pear smash. That's gonna be on Monday. Then on Tuesday, you're gonna have your chicken thighs with your green beans, etc. And that way you know exactly exactly what you're going to be having each and every single day. Once those bags are all prepped and labeled, you will be freezing those bags, okay? So you freeze them, you don't cook them. The night before, you're supposed to cook Monday. So in other words, on Sunday night, you will take that bag out of the freezer, you will let it defrost, and on Monday morning, you switch your slow cooker on, you dump the contents in, and you wave goodbye and you come back to work to a beautiful aromatic house where your meal is fully cooked without you doing absolutely any meal prepping during the week, without you having to stand over a stove and worry about whether it's simmering or whether it's cooking to perfection or whether it's gonna get burnt, okay? Now on that topic, you wanna make sure that you are not only choosing those meals, but wondering, am I gonna be satisfied with these meals next week? If that's the case, then guess what? You can just use those same 5 recipes throughout the next 4 weeks. But if you're the type of person that gets kind of bored and you want something different, you just wanna try something different, then what you can do is maybe choose 2 sets of recipes, of 5 recipes that you can do during the week. So that way you can alternate one week with the other. And of course, there's always the option of just taking 5 different recipes every single week for the 4 weeks. Now that is gonna take a little bit more prep time, only because you have to kind of start the whole process all over again where you're thinking about grocery lists and grocery shopping and all that stuff. So whatever works for you, that's what you're going to want to be able to make sure that you are doing, whatever works for you and your family. Tip number 5. So now we're gonna talk about breakfast. And breakfast, on the go, I love breakfast. I feel like breakfast is my favorite meal of the day. And it's very easy for me to kind of grab and go my breakfast. Usually I'll have either prosciutto on hand, I'll have hard-boiled eggs on hand, I'll have bacon approved on hand. So I will usually just kind of have my hard-boiled eggs. I'll usually do those on any given weekend, and then I'll have them during the week. Now you can do that, and you can also do what I do as far as I usually have something like a sweet potato with some green beans in the morning, and some salami approved salami or approved bacon, and so on and so forth. So that's usually what I'll have in the morning, with maybe half of a Hass avocado, and you can see that here. Tip number 6, buy your vegetables fresh, wash them, chop them, freeze them. So I like to add some extra greens into my dishes. If you notice, some of the recipes that I showed you are mainly like the actual protein, some vegetables like in the case of the beef salad, but mainly it's just kind of like you have more of the more dense vegetables, like your root vegetables. So I like to add more greens, and in order to do that, and so that they don't go spoiling in my refrigerator, I like to buy them fresh. So something like asparagus, for example, I love asparagus. I'll buy them fresh, I'll make sure that I wash them down, I chop them, and I freeze them. So they're ready to use whenever I want. Some of the vegetables that are really good to freeze are broccoli, peppers, asparagus, like I mentioned, green beans. You can always add them to your dishes. You can always steam them before you serve them. So that would be like the extent of your cooking, aside from your slow cooker doing the cooking for you for these meals. Tip number 7. Okay, so this is the final tip, and we're gonna talk about snacks. You know, because sometimes you do want a snack, okay? And if you're having your good hearty breakfast, your lunch and your dinner, you really are not gonna have the necessity for like huge snacks or huge full meals in between. You also don't really wanna be doing that as much, just because that will spike your sugar levels, and eventually it does make you actually hungrier. So if you do have the need for snacks, there are 2 types of snacks that you could really do. You can buy either perishables, which would be kind of apples or berries, which are the fruits that kind of keep your sugar levels much lower because it doesn't have so much sugar. But you could also go with the ones that have a lot of a bit more shelf life, like pumpkin seeds, which I absolutely love to snack on, raw nuts, nut butters. So if it's something that's going to put you spiral out of control, because I know the nut butters do that for me, I love them, then maybe opt for something like the pumpkin seeds, like I mentioned, or the raw nuts. And that is it, guys. Like, this is a great time of the year to start this Whole30 challenge. It's the beginning of the year, and it's also something that I like to do in order to reset. So I did this challenge back in August. I absolutely fell in love with it. One of the things that I can tell you was that the first 2 weeks that I tried it, I felt I didn't realize how dependent I was on sugar, and I'm not the type of person that has sugar every day. So it's just in everything nowadays. 80% of the products that you buy on the shelf have sugar. Read your ingredients. Something as simple as chicken broth, as beef broth, as vegetable broth, they have sugar in it. And I'm not talking about even natural sugars. I'm talking about sugar added. Like, you'll see that it says maltodextrose or actually cane sugar, even though it's organic cane sugar, but it's still sugar. And that's what the program is about, to make you see where you can better your health by eliminating these things that are actually hindering you when you think that you're actually eating healthy. Okay, it's also a great way, this system is a great way to help you to save money. There's no food spoilage because you know exactly what you're going to be eating, and you're actually using it. You're preparing it at that one day of the week. You Ziploc it, you put it in the freezer, and you're done. You're done for the rest of the week. You know, cooking, like, that is like a dream in any type of nutritional system. So I hope these tips help you out. And if you are planning to do a Whole30 in January, please tell me, how are you planning to prep for your January 2019 Whole30? That's it. I am out.